Here she goes. Got her on a pole. It's the best I can do at the moment. Got her right there. Got some wind going on today. Not a whole lot, but it's a spinning. Alright, let's go check out some meters. Well, there's my mess. But that's temporary, testing purposes. Okay, so far I have not seen a single amp produced out of this turbine. 500 milliamps with one of the gusts that came by is all I got. I've got a clamp meter going on here. I've got this one here, which isn't reading anything. I've also got this one. It's not reading anything. Barely moves every once in a while. You get about 80 milliamps right there. Yeah, so that's what we're getting right now. We're supposed to get some pretty good wind today. It's still kind of early. It's around 11 o'clock. I think around 3 o'clock today, 3 or 4, we're supposed to get around 35 on gusts and about 28 sustained, 25 to 28. So I'm going to come back out here and see what happens. I guess we're around 10 to 15 right now. It's not really doing a whole lot. But there's a gust going by right now. I'm looking out the window. About 150 on that one. Milliamps. So it's not really putting out a lot. Ooh, there we go. About a half an amp popped out there. Woohoo! That was a pretty good gust too. So I don't know. I also know it could just be this controller, or maybe that's just the way these turbines are. I don't know, or maybe it's just this one. You know, I mean, you can hear the leaves on the trees blasting out there. Another 300. So what I'm going to do, just to try, because I noticed this thing here shuts off at 14 volts. So if it shuts off at 14, or it's 14.6, I believe, it won't let it spin up any faster than that. If that's the case, and your battery is sitting at, 12.5 volts, how can you really get much charge if you can't really get your voltage up higher on your supply side? Like your solar side, like me, this isn't connected. I've completely disconnected it. I don't want anything going to the battery except this wind turbine. You're sitting at 21 volts. Charge controller takes that extra voltage like MPPT does and gives you that extra amperage. If you can't get above 14 volts, how are you going to gain any amperage over, a volt and a half or 2 volts over your battery voltage? That's how my brain's thinking anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do when I get home after work, I'm going to disconnect that and I'm going to rehook it back up to this, and because this will let it spin up into the 20s and 30s, and I'm going to bring those leads and connect them to the charge controller right here. Won't have anything to do with the solar. I want to see what this charge controller does with that turbine. See if it can use that extra voltage and supply it, make it work. That's what I'm going to try a little bit later. So stay tuned, and I'm going to see what happens. Okay, so I did it. It's going into the rectifier. It's coming out. Going right in here. Okay, I know I got it rigged up here. It's just to test it out. So look at there, 23 volts coming in. It's not producing jack squat yet. If you notice, these EP-Evers need about 20 seconds to do the tracking thing. It's got to figure out what it's going to do with that voltage. If that light's not on, then there's not enough power coming in to do anything with it. So it's blinking on and off. It's on now. Going up to 19 volts. I got a little clamp meter here. 90 milliamps. If the wind would just stay sustained to where we could get a constant voltage, then the MPPT could maybe stabilize. But it's not able to stabilize because the voltage is all over the place. You know, go 10 volts to 30 volts, you know, within 60 seconds on and off continuously. It just can't decide what to do. The gust came around and it got up to 200 milliamps. Over here it read 0.2. So I don't know, man. Let's go see if it's spinning any. See that tree back there blasting? It's a going. But I can't seem to get anything out of it. Maybe there's a different type of MPPT that I could find that would let the voltage go up high without having to take so long to come on. There you go. Oh. See, once it gets started, it just shuts off. It's like it wants to go into a tracking mode and try to figure out what to do with the voltage, and it stops charging. It even does that with the solar. Like if I plug something in and draw a lot of power, it'll stop charging, figure out what's going on, and then boom, all this amperage starts coming out. But that voltage has to stay the same. And this controller can't decide what to do. So, there you go. Even the old clamp meter saying, nope. So, I don't know. What if I just wire it directly to the freaking battery? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it puts out enough to really burn the battery up. And I also noticed, even with the other controller, this one, it would spool up, and as soon as it would start to charge a little bit, right around the 300, 500 milliamp range, the turbine would just stop turning. It's almost as if that blade system just can't harness enough wind to produce enough torque to keep it turning. So that's what I'm thinking on that. The way that blade is, I think it needs to be bigger, like maybe 4 feet diameter or something to produce enough torque. I don't think enough wind can get in there and keep it spinning when it's under a load. Looks like it wants to go, but when the load comes on, it really slows down. And maybe if I could get it up a lot higher, 30 feet in the air, that might help some. I just can't do that here. Not next to those power wires anyway. I have to relocate it somewhere else in the central location of the yard. Here's where I had it, if you remember. Maybe I can get it up there here. Maybe I'll move it. I'll put some guide wires on it. See if I can get it up there. But anyway, that's my dilemma. I bought this thinking it'd be really cool to watch. I figured, hell, you know, get up around 5 amps. Be cool to watch. 5, 10 amps. Nah, I can't get nothing out of this thing. It's really not producing any power. Nothing to brag about. So I'm going to just stick it to the battery. You know what? I'm going to bypass that and see if any amperage comes out of it. So, hang on. Let's try that. Alright, I've got it going directly to the battery. Come out of there. And I've just clipped the leads right here, which these were already going directly to the battery. Got my clamp meter on. Got the dogs barking. We'll see now if get any more power out of it. That meter now will read some. There's no gust yet. Just hang in there with me. We'll see if we can get... Let me go kick the dog real quick. Alright. I didn't really kick the dog. I just yelled at it. So anyway, going directly to the battery now. I know this video is a mess, but I'm just trying anything I can to see if any kind of power. I just want to see 1 amp come out of this thing. You know? But milliamps is all I'm getting. I've got the meter set at the 2 amp. Okay, so that way I can see it go up to 800-900 milliamps and start getting excited and watch it die. So it's trying to read a little something. This meter right here, man, it barely fluctuates. It just barely goes above the little black line there every once in a while. I was really wanting a turbine too. Yeah, it could just be my conditions. I don't know. Maybe if I lived out in the country, had a big old field, and was up around 30 feet. I don't know, maybe this thing would work a little better. It should be doing a little bit more than this, I think. But anyway, so now, how about this? Remember this old thing? The PWM Harbor Freight Charge Controller for solar. How about I hook this up? What do you think would happen if I hook this up? Well, give me a minute. We'll try that out. Well, alright. Now I'm coming out of there. I'm going right into this Harbor Freight Charge Controller. Coming out through these wires here. And I've got it connected to the positive and negative side, going directly to the battery. And of course the wind just died as soon as I turned the camera on. So if you'll bear with me just for a second, let's see if we can get something to happen here. Go out here and take a look at this beautiful day in January. It's turning and it's starting to speak up just a little bit. Let's see if this thing will read anything. Clamp meter. I never did like this charge controller when I had it hooked up to the panels. That's why I wanted to try it first. I'm going to grab one of the other original ones and try it also. Because this one, I don't know, I just didn't like it. It says 0. Of course, that says 0. And that says 0. Dang it. Alright. As soon as the gust pops up, I'll hit record again. So I'm not wasting your time. Whew, that was it. Big hefty 100 milliamps. Yeah, man. What a bummer. There's 200 showing on that one. I believe it's really trying. I can't really badmouth it. just because, you know, I don't have it up in the air high enough. It'd be nice if I could get it way up there. I'm not sure if that would even help any. I mean, if it's not producing anything here where I have it, it's above the roof and above the trees. Yeah. I wouldn't be optimistic about it. I don't know if I'm going to spend any more time and money trying to get that thing any higher. Well, I got one more try. I'm going to hook up one of the original charge controllers, and that's going to be my last test. Let's just see what happens. Alright, there's the original charge controller. Shows power coming in. As of right now, nothing coming out. About 20 milliamps. Of course, I turned the camera on right before I looked to see if there's any wind puffing out there. I just took the brake off too, so let's give it a chance to spin up. All right. It's not much different than any of the other ones. It's just a milliamp turbine. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how they get their power ratings on these things. But I don't even know how to mathematically equate that milliamps. It's ridiculous. I guess maybe it could be a battery maintainer if you have a battery sitting on the shelf. I don't know what else it would be good for. So that's my last test. Again, I'm going to leave it on. I want to see if this thing will go up to 13 volts. I don't think it will at such small amperage. But I'm going to leave it just like this with this controller coming right off the turbine just like that. I don't think it's going to allow it to spool up at all. Any way of damaging it. I don't need a dump load. Doesn't appear that it's necessary at the moment. I don't believe it's going to reach enough to need it. So that concludes this video, and I'll try more things out with it. I'll try to get it up there higher. I don't know how just yet. But anyway, that's my turbine, and thanks for watching.